Well, howdy, friends and floor heads. We are back with episode 2 of VR Dead using the Mothership RPG. Right out of the gate, if you have not seen episode 1, I recommend you stop watching this. Go back and watch episode 1. There was a big reveal at the end of episode 1 that we don't want to spoil. But for those of you that are here that have seen episode 1, we left our 4 crew members in a very cold reality. They started today as just another day at Mergen's watch, a science outpost, an ideal contract job. Luke, the station captain, asked them to help him dissipate what he was calling digital ghosts. With some detective work, the crew went to the sensor control room on the 3rd floor in the laboratory section of the station. They encountered not one, but 2 of these ghosts. They approached one, and, like the others before it, it surrendered and dissipated as they came closer. When the second one appeared, it seemed to move towards them, and everything immediately changed. Eeyore, the android, found herself in darkness with a digital display showing the words rebooting. She quickly realized she was wearing a VR helmet. When she removed it, what she saw was pure horror. She was holding a freshly severed arm, and her 3 crewmates were in the process of eating the flesh of a newly dead man. Yes, I said eating. She removed their VR helmets. Everyone realized that they were in the same sensor control room, but instead of it being pristine and state-of-the-art, it was dilapidated and filthy. Everyone's uniform was stained with the fresh blood of the man they were consuming, along with the dried blood of somebody before. Everyone is dirty, covered in blood, emaciated, and trying to reconcile the horror before them. If that wasn't enough, Eeyore found a monitor that warned that the station's orbit was decaying and set for destruction in 48 hours, with a countdown. We're going to play to find out what's going to happen after the opening titles.
Attention, brave viewers. What you're about to witness is not for the faint of heart. This video features adults immersed in a spine-chilling horror RPG experience. The content likely includes supernatural elements, horror-related events, and potentially scenes of violence. Fear not, for the players have set in place safety tools and discussed the boundaries of their journey into the unknown. But brace yourself, for the shadows hold secrets that may haunt your dreams. Proceed with caution. You have been warned. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy.
I think I want to start back with Eeyore. So EY0RE, you are sitting in that chair, staring at that green CRT monitor. You're seeing seconds, minutes, and eventually hours ticking away before apparently the station's orbit degrades and the station is no more. Your eyes drift down to a paper that has been taped to one of the monitors to the left of you. This monitor is not functioning. It's totally dark, and it's covered by this sheet of paper. And on there, there's a handwritten note. I'm going to read it to you. In large capital letters, it says, "Remember," with an exclamation point. Below it says, "They're not aggressive if you're logged in, but doing it repeatedly makes them suspicious." Next paragraph. "Paul has begun harvesting electronics from terminals. Logging into VR is becoming the only way to interact with most systems." Last paragraph. All capital letters. "Do not stay logged in for more than 3 hours. The simulation is growing increasingly intoxicating. Anything longer risks forgetting."
Eeyore is trying to reconcile, I think, within their systems. This must have been some piece of malware that got downloaded into them, and somehow it's jumbled up all of their sensory outputs, because this is not where they were before. Do I recognize the handwriting on that note?
You don't. You don't. But the imprecision of the handwriting does immediately recognize in your brain that this was not an android, right? This was a human being that wrote this. An android would have a far more precise penmanship.
Did any of you write this note on this computer screen?
I don't react because I have a severed head and throat in my hands. I might say, "What are you talking about, Eeyore? We're eating human flesh at this moment."
Right. One moment. Eeyore's eyes are going to roll back in their head. And like, okay, let's go back to care for humans protocol. They're scared. What do we need to do? We need to calm them down. We need to ground them. And let's put down the person. And we'll go over to the sergeant and kind of try and help them put down and put their hands awkwardly on Sergeant's shoulders. You are okay.
I will be fine if I can get a hold of that stun stick that I see. I feel we need weapons.
This does seem like a good idea.
Weapons? We clearly are the weapons. Look at us.
Well, if one of you starts eating me, I can stun you.
You were the one holding the head.
This is true.
Responding to the comment about the note, like Dr. Brundle will come right over and start reading it, and kind of just begin addressing the room on the strength of, I think, my solid save last time. I'm fighting it all back. So business as usual, analysis mode. It's trying to identify if the note is familiar and just start asking the room, what happened? What does everyone remember happening right before we woke up here, kind of looking at the, body parts and quickly looking away.
We were close to the data ghost. We had lured it with snacks. And then everything went dark. Did everything go dark for you as well?
Yes.
Some sort of system reboot message, but it wasn't my own system, and I suddenly felt a heaviness on my head and pulled it off, and it was kind of like picks up the VR headset
Mm-hmm.
and realized all three of you also had them on.
And real quick, Eeyore, as you pick up the headset and kind of present it as part of your speech, you're looking kind of inside of it, and you can see not what it's displaying, but it is starting to display again.
It seems to be back online.
Ugh.
Did the
Unplug
new-
it. Unplug it. And is it plugged? Remove the battery. Now. Please. I don't know. I don't want to go back to the VR. I don't know if this is where.
And Bex, if you could do me a favor, can you give me let me get a very quick intellect roll from you if I could. Ooh, very nice. So I got a bunch of information, I think. As a mechanic, you're looking at this headset and you see the glow, right? And there's really no way of knowing what it's displaying. You'd have to put it back onto your head to do that. And it doesn't sound like that you're anxious to do that. So, but you do recognize that it's on. You see a cord running from the side of this large helmet. I want you to imagine like it's almost like a shoebox size that would cover your face. And the cord running from the side of the goggles, for lack of a better explanation, runs to a power pack in the back strap. So if you wanted to power this off, you could definitely, disconnect that cord and it would power off. But you look around and you very quickly realize that the other one that's on the floor that you're not holding, they all definitely are on again, and they appear to be synchronized just based on the changing of the displays.
Well, they're going without us. So this may be larger than just our little room. It could not be. I have no desire to look through these headsets again, and if anybody else does, lots of warning, but they seem to be part of a unified display, presentation, program. Do with that what you will. And I'm going to pace over to the node and just keep moving a little bit.
Has anybody but myself noticed the dried blood that is going up to the ductwork?
I think so. I think all of you can see it. And it lines up with kind of what happened with that second ghost, right? So the second ghost, the right before things went black and the rebooting started, we saw that ghost kind of migrate towards that duct And that duct right now, the very top, you can see the grate that covers it is wide open, and the trail of that blood leads up into that grate. And all of you guys on your journals, you have maps. You can find that sensor room on Laboratory 2. You'll also see where the duct connects, and no guarantee, because that was the map of Mergen's Watch where you just were. The only thing that gives you some level of confidence that you're still on Mergen's Watch is that the room is identical. It just is. It's just not nice anymore. It's not pristine. It's degraded. It is dilapidated. The monitors aren't working, but like structurally, the walls were where they were before. That duct is still in the same place. Everything around you looks the same, but just grimy and broken.
So Bex, it sounds like you believe this is where we really are and we were in virtual reality. I think that's a solid hypothesis to start with until we can prove otherwise. If this is a simulation we're in, we're still in jeopardy.
I think we're in jeopardy either way.
Well, we are going to deorbit in 40 hours. We have to fix that.
Okay, go for it.
You're the teamster.
I'm not in charge of this shit show.
But where would we address orbital decay from in the station? The engine room, the control center?
Yes, we should probably check several places if we want to leave this room.
I pick up the little stunner thing.
I just added it to your inventory, Sergeant. When you pick it up, it looks familiar. It looks like what the Robbies on your team would use, but again, just not in great shape. In fact, this one looks to be somewhat MacGyvered. It's been altered, and you can tell it's got 2 charges left on it, but it also looks like it has been enhanced, maybe even overcharged. So it looks to be more dangerous than what you have issued, that the Robbies would normally be issued and have on them. But I've added it to your inventory.
Thank you.
And we talked about this offline, but for everybody that's watching, one of the first questions I got from our 4 characters was, do I still have my stuff? And the answer is they do not. And one thing I will tell you is that unlike the body that's on the floor, in several pieces, and all 4 of you have the same type of uniform on, and with the same like eagle like embroidery on the left-hand side, and you notice your names are embroidered on these uniforms as well. They look nothing like what you were wearing just a few minutes ago.
Still in a kind of numbed headspace, Dr. Brundle will realize that there's a head. Do we recognize the head? And indeed, check the whole body if I can stomach that.
Yeah, so you don't recognize this person. They in no way look familiar to you, but looking over their person, they actually do this. Give me that quick intellect roll. Let's figure out how much you can figure out by looking at this person, Dr. Brundle.
Okay, I think no skills are appropriate here.
Okay.
Zoology.
You're looking over the body. You definitely don't recognize it. That has nothing to do with succeeding or failing. It's in a similar condition as you are. It's malnourished. It does not have, obviously, a VR headset. This person also does not have that milky IV bag attached to its shoulder and feeding its arm the way it does to the three of you. The only one who does not have that bag, of course, is Eeyore.
Right. The bag.
Yep.
Is it conveniently labeled?
It is not. In fact, what's really odd about it, Dr. Brundle, is it doesn't even look like these bags like came from the same like storage box, right? There's almost a hodgepodge. They are definitely 3 IV bags. They definitely have the same type of liquid in them that's being pumped into your veins, but like the markings on it are different. So these are like 3 different bags from 3 different sources or something. It's hard to tell, but it's as much hodgepodge as the stun baton that Sergeant Robles just picked up.
Mm-hmm. And if we haven't done this already, I tear mine out and tell everyone to do the same.
Let's have you tear yours out first. Can I get a quick strength check from you? And this is not, do you have the strength to pull it out? It's what's going to happen afterwards.
Nope.
All right. I need you to roll me a quick D4. You should a little triangle on the bottom left there there you go. Take 4 damage for me, if you would, real quick, Dr. Brundle. You tear this out of your vein, and it's going farther in than I think you anticipated. There's a little bit of the magician handkerchief trick happening as you pull this out, right? And as soon as it comes out, the liquid starts just pouring out of the end of the tube onto your arm, and it's just kind of like just draining out of it. Blood is coming out of where it was, which it just instinctively you throw your hand on that, and it was a painful process to pull that out. The liquid is viscous, and it's sticky, and it's got a smell that it smells like milk. Like that's right on the brink, right? Like the milk you just pulled out of the fridge and you put your nose up to it to see if it's still good, and you're not sure. You're going to have to taste it because the smell is a little suspect, but not obvious.
If I have a moment, I will taste it.
So you taste it. It tastes off. But I don't think I need a roll for this. From university, it takes you back, and it takes you back to the protein liquids that you would feed like some of the laboratory animals. And I think you recognize that it's some sort of nutrient-rich liquid.
I would like to walk over and kink the tube so it stops leaking everywhere.
Okay.
Dr. Brundle?
That tastes like.
I'm assuming this is whatever has kept us nourished. Presumably not sufficiently, though, given our cravings for, well, that.
Biological matter.
Thank you. Yeah, I recommend you remove it. Maybe help each other remove them instead of taking it out directly.
What? If it's keeping me fed, why would I want to remove it?
There's no guarantee what else is in there that could be influencing our biochemistry.
Oh, you can't taste drugs?
I didn't sample enough in my studies.
Well, that makes one of us. I'm
I
gonna
don't think I
hold
have-
up the thing and just hold it, hand it.
Yep. we can probably find clips and not take, not harm ourselves.
Tie it in a knot. Just
Yeah, that's a good
So
idea.
you're stopping the feed on your bag. Am I hearing that right, Bex?
no.
Oh, just the other bag that Brundle pulled off of him.
Yeah.
Got
we
it.
don't know
I'm
if
with
that's we don't know if that leaking is bad.
Got it.
Yeah, and I'm keeping mine in as well.
Is Dr. Brundle still bleeding?
Doesn't take too
Just-
long to stop the bleeding, so
Okay.
no, I think it's pretty quick.
No need for first aid then.
No, and that damage is as much a function of the trauma as it is hurting.
I want to turn my back on all of this and go see if I can do anything to get these computers offline.
So Bex, you kind of wander off to some of the other terminals and you're looking at them, and you see panels opened. You immediately recognize that parts of these computers have been removed. There's been motherboards taken out, and different panels completely removed and gutted. All the keyboards are gone, except for the one that Eeyore happened to find. You get a sense that this room, other than the one terminal, has been stripped for parts.
What did that note say? Paul was harvesting electronics? Maybe we should find Paul? Unless he's going to try to eat us.
And for those watching, and if you remember, Paul was the head of engineering that you interacted with at the table in the mess hall. He was the one that kind of lets you know that you need to kind of meet with Luke, and kind of started the ball rolling on all of this. And Bex, you have had a pretty close relationship with Paul. Paul seemed very interested in, potentially promoting you.
We may need to be cautious approaching Paul if we are able to find him here. He did suggest that we four look for these data ghosts. Unsure of his involvement. But I do think we should get out of this room. Is the door locked?
Yeah, is the door locked?
Let's go over to the door. So you go over to the door, and it is not locked, but it doesn't automatically open, right? So when there's not a security barrier, the code you had to put in before to get in here, that code pad is gone, but you can see that it's been retrofitted and covered. Almost like the coding pad was taken out and then just a plate was put on top of it. And as you walk up to that door, it doesn't open automatically. You put your hand on it though, and you can easily slide it.
Okay. I will go first since I have a weapon.
Sliding it open, you look out, and it's oddly what you expected to see. You see the hallway going straight ahead, and the hallway extending off to your right, just like it was before. But again, there's wires hanging from panels of the ceiling that have been taken out. The beautiful curved lines of the station are now hard, dark, black steel and metals. Off to your right, before you kind of stick your head out of the room into the hallway, you hear very heavy footsteps getting louder.
I whisper to my team to get back into the server room, and I will close the door, but with enough room to peek out.
All right, I'm checking on the other three of you. Are we Are we doing as we're told by the sergeant?
We are looking to improvise a weapon.
I think because of who you are, Bex, I think you have little trouble finding maybe what essentially will be a cudgel or a club. You're able to kind of pull off part of the paneling, and it's got a nice little weight to it. So I'll add it to your inventory in a little bit. But yeah, you've got essentially, a cudgel of sorts, a big piece of metal. Sergeant Robles, as you just leave a little sliver, and you hear the ding, ding of those footsteps, immediately registers these are heavy. Whoever it is must be wearing metal boots or metal-toed boots, because it's a clang of metal on metal, these footsteps. And then a shadow passes the little slit that you have in the door, and you can see something walking away further down the hallway. So it's turned the corner where you are, where the door is to the sensor room. You look at this thing. Back of its head is all metal. You look at its hands and realize it's almost a crude android. What I think surprises you a little bit is that it's wearing a Robbie's uniform.
I shut the door. And inform the team of what I just saw, especially of the Robbie's uniform. I did have a question for the team. We're wearing different clothing, and from my experiences on other ships, usually the name of the ship is on the back of the jumpsuit. Have we looked at the back of our changed coveralls?
There's nothing on the back, Sergeant Robles, but as you look at the patch a little bit closer that's on your shoulder, that had like that flying eagle, it does, all four of you, it does say the Pegasus, which would be indicative of the ship you serve on.
Does that evoke anything? Like, oh yes, the Pegasus? Or is it more like, we don't know?
Give me an intellect check real quick.
I think again that's just a straight. Dope.
God, so close, you missed it by 2.
I know.
Your brain is a little foggy, Dr. Brundle. You've never seen this patch before. You've never seen the Pegasus before, but you get a little deja vu feeling in kind of a cloudy part of your brain.
All right.
From-
Subconscious processing.
From Sergeant Robles' description of the android, does that trigger any recollection of that, maybe that model type or a model type of an android?
I think with whatever description I think that Sergeant Robles gives you, Eeyore, it sounds like it's a very primitive, more server type robot than an actual android, right? Because there's nothing that Sergeant Robles describes to you that makes it look like the type of android models that we're mimicking humans, much like you are, right? You are so developed as an android that you could pass as human if need be. What Sergeant Robles saw could not.
Relay that thought to the team. They may not be able to be reasoned with if they're not immediately friendly, so we may want to stay clear of that server. So we have patrols.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on the upside, we can hear them coming.
This is true. It does give a little more clarity as to why dried blood went into the ductwork. If who or whatever escaped, left this room, needed to do so quietly without being seen. Maybe that's how we traverse through here.
I
Does that
agree.
duct look big enough?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Does that duct look big enough?
Oh yeah. You very easily, any of the four of you could crawl into that duct.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a way to access it, like a ladder, or are we just tall enough to grab onto it? And...
I think between the four of you, obviously getting one of you boosted up there would be easy. I would imagine the fourth we could, pull them up, reach down and pull them up.
And that's how whatever got away. That's where the bloody trail goes, right?
Yes.
On this one, okay, I recommend that we do that. We're all agreed that we should take the ductwork to avoid the Robbies.
Yep.
Everybody's
Zach, you
super
look
excited about
hesitant.
this.
If we are still in something that's the same layout as Mergen's watch, we can access the other areas up here, since this is should map to the laboratory. We could go through to the VR labs or sensor control, or at least look down and see what's going on in there.
Well, you're in sensor control.
Sorry, server room. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
We could also get to the VR labs, which may be important to figure out why we had these VR headsets on.
And as a quick reminder as well, it was in the most recent reality, VR was banned on Mergen's watch because they were having difficulties with it, and it was believed to be tied to these data ghosts. So Luke was just like, look, I know everybody likes the VR, and I know that for the type of research you're doing, Dr. Brundle, the VR was key. You interacted a lot of your experiments via the VR headsets, and it was also a very common form of entertainment on Mergen's watch to go to the VR labs and interact with them. But it's been weeks since anybody has been allowed to interact with the VR on Mergen's watch.
Based on current circumstances, that seems highly suspicious.
So what order should we go in? Looking to the sergeant.
Oh,
I can go first. I have enhanced sight. programmed. Maybe a little easier to see ahead.
I will go last because I have a lot of upper body strength.
I don't want a doctor at my back. I don't. You probably know something about this, and I don't. No. So I will follow you wherever you may go.
Fair enough. Dr. Brundle's like, well, that's odd. But yeah, we'll go next.
Okay, fine.
All right, so walk me through it. Who are we boosting up there first?
Eeyore is going first.
All right, so you guys help Eeyore kind of go into this, and it's a ceiling access, right? So it's not like it's at the top on the wall. It's hanging from the ceiling itself. And Eeyore, you get boosted up in there. This air duct system you can feel the air flowing as soon as you get up there. It's definitely, circulating air, and that's the purpose of this duct. There's a faint smell of BO when you get up there. It's very, 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 very dark. Your low light capabilities allow you to see a little bit ahead of you, but not much. And as you kind of get boosted up there, I mean, it's definitely big enough for you, but I don't think you could turn around. And it is very confining. And God, if it was just like 2 inches bigger, it'd be great, because you can't quite crawl, so you can't quite lift yourself up. It is just uncomfortably small.
Eeyore's gonna stick her head kind of back out. It is quite small. Once we pick a direction, I don't think we'll be able to quickly reverse that. We would have to crawl backwards. Also, it definitely smells like someone has been in here recently.
Is it straining under one person's weight, or is this
No. Nope, it seems stable.
Good work, Teamsters.
Well built. And Eeyore, you recognize what you expected to see, having the layout of Mergen's watch in storage in your mind. The duct goes 2 different ways, right? There's the one way which you believe will take you towards the VR labs, and then the other way that potentially takes you to the administrative section of the station.
Do we want to go towards the VR labs or the admin area?
I'm starting to rethink this plan. It was my plan, and I'm starting to rethink it. Because poor Eeyore is not going to be able to move quickly if we run into anything dangerous up here.
So what is our goal right now? What is the most important thing? Do we need to figure out where we are? Do we need to our decay? Do we want to figure out where the blood trail leads? Do we want to take out whatever Robbie is doing?
I think the orbital decay is the most important.
At least trying to figure out what it needs to be fixed for that. Yeah. So we should get to the command room, essentially. Which is over in the admin area.
Yes. Let's do that.
So we all going that way, and kind kind of almost army crawling through these ducts. Am I hearing this correctly?
Do we want to split up?
Oh, never split the party.
That means all of us are going to be trapped in a tube together. Are we good with that? I'm
No.
pretty okay in tubes, but
Okay, so on one side, if we go one way, we'll hit the VR. If we go the other way, we'll get to the administrative.
Right. So the station is blocked off not only by floor but by section, right? So right now you're in the laboratory section, the section that Dr. Brundle spends a large amount of his time. This is where most of the research is occurring on Mergen's watch. The admin side, that's an area that you really did not spend much time on. You guys just weren't important enough at Mergen's watch to be as part of the admin wing, but you've got things like administrative offices, the boardroom, station command is there, the comms room is there, as well as life support.
I think Eeyore ought to go that away. Because I don't think any of us have any other specialties that could help fix the orbital decay. At least Eeyore has got data and can access data.
I could scout ahead. This duct may trigger claustrophobia in any of you that may be prone to it. It is quite small.
Sergeant, I think your ears are attuned to this based off of what you did near the door. Our friend is now coming back. You can hear the footsteps getting louder through the door.
All right, team. We need to make a decision, and we need to make a decision now. Everybody up the ducts, the ductwork. I hear that Robbie android coming back towards us.
I say we go to admin.
I agree.
The first room we should come to is life support, and we can peek down in there and
Maybe
learn
we can
anything.
find other nutrients than whatever that white substance is for you three.
well, for that we might have to go down to engineering.
Fair.
All right, so we move pretty quick. I've got Eeyore first. Sounded like it was a Bex. No, Bex, you wanted everybody in front of you, right?
Doc goes ahead.
All right, so it sounds like Dr. Brundle, Sergeant Robles, and then Bex, as your foot moves up into the ceiling, being the last one going, you can hear the metal on metal scraping of the door opening to the sensory room. You begin crawling through this ductwork. And Eeyore, obviously you get to the grate that you, based on everything that we have, would point to life support. And as you look down through the grating, it is a similar kind of lighting as you had in the sensor room. It's barely lit, dim. There's some fluorescent type LED lighting. You see just below you the floor. It seems to be covered in a series of tubes, but like it's not organized. It's messy. It's like somebody just dumped a bunch of tubes onto the floor below you, and you really can't see much else.
Well, we could go down in here. I'm not seeing any people or of more of those Robbie droids in there. The room seems to be in a state of disarray, though.
And though the grate is closed, Eeyore, you can see where metal on metal scrapings has this grating has been opened and closed several times.
When we chose to go this way through the ducts, have we seen any dried blood along the way?
Kind of that dry blood trail kind of was gone by the time you got up there. You saw a little bit around the entrance of the ductwork that you came in, but there wasn't really a blood trail in either direction.
Okay. This grate has been frequented before. This may be an area we want to look into. I can push the grate out.
Your scent sensors are picking up a few smells. Eeyore, you're picking up that body odor scent. It's a little bit stronger. You also smell urine and feces.
Bodily matter. There has at least been humans here recently, if not currently in that room. Anyone against going in?
You're in the lead.
I think staying here is not a whole lot of fun.
Well,
Pretty sure I'm.
Brundle's bumping up against you.
all right. Eeyore is going to pop the grate open.
Yeah, you see where there's a latch on the inside. You're able to pop that. It swings down, and you can safely lower yourself into the room, and your feet hit the metal grating of the floor. The only reason you know this is life support is based off of the map of Mergen's Watch that you've had in your systems for a long time. You've never been in this room before. Immediately, you recognize not only the tubings, but there is a server that is active to your right. And based on the readouts of the server, it is still delivering air recycling, allowing there to be air here. But you can see a series of failures on the readout as well. Things like the water systems have begun to fail. And you can see recognitions of like missing components being recorded in that readout as it's going through. Below that, you would expect to see like a terminal access, like a keyboard of some sort for you to interact with this thing. All you have is what looks like a block of a keyboard, but there's no keys on it. This would be something that would be possibly a VR interaction, right? That sometimes what they'll do is they'll have VR only access to certain systems. Dr. Brundle would have this where they would have, if I was in VR, I might see keys on this block, but here you do not. The three of you slowly are lowering yourself down, so you're all seeing this. In the far part of the room, there looks to be about 4 makeshift bunks. And you see crude containers that have water in them, a mismatch of different types of different bottles and larger containers. And you can see that there's water in them. You see some ration packages that have been ripped open and disposed of. You can tell in the other far corner on the opposite side of what seems to be a living area, you realize where the other smell is, and there's a container in the far back corner that's obviously being used for waste. and that's where that feces and urine smell is coming from.
There are people living in this room, but not here currently. We actually may need one of the VR headsets to access. There is an active server here, but no keys on the keyboard. Anyone else want to come down?
I have all 4 of you down here, if that's okay.
Okay.
If any of you wanted to stay up there, let me know.
Is there a VR headset near the near?
We would potentially have to go back and get one.
Oh, there isn't a headset here.
There's not.
There's 4 bunks. Are there 4 containers of water?
There's multiple. There's like over a dozen containers. Some of them are empty. Some of them have water in them. Many of them, there's like marks, like a rationing marks on the containers themselves.
Do the bunks trigger any familiarity?
Nope.
It likely
The
was
only
not-
thing that's familiar about this right now is that before you got this contract on Mergen's watch, these are the conditions you're used to. This is the type of work you would have been hired for, which is none of the equipment works great. We're just trying to stay alive. This is oddly familiar, which I think is what made getting this contract on Mergen's watch such a, I can't believe we're here. That's the level of familiarity you get. But no, you've never seen anything that triggers something, Eeyore.
I think looking around at everybody and realizing that our faces have dried blood on them, I'm grabbing water and washing.
I'm grabbing water and drinking. Well, after a sniff test.
Yeah, passes the sniff test, and you can tell it's tasteless, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, you're able to drink it, and my God, you take the first gulp, Bex, and you can't help yourself because you did not register how dehydrated you were until that water touched your lips, and I think almost uncontrollably you just tip up this container and are just swallowing this water, and it's doing a lot of things. One, it just it feels good in the mouth, like you didn't realize how dry your mouth was. Your throat, you can tell how sore and dry your throat was. It's doing a wonderful job of washing the flesh taste out of your mouth.
Well,
Bex, you probably need to take it easy on the water. You don't have anything in your stomach except flesh. And you may, by drinking so much water at one time, regurgitate it.
just a squinty, like, how dare you say that to me?
Oh boy.
But I'm gonna grab
another container I grabbed. Sit on
I'm
one of
gonna
the
grab
bunks.
another container and sip at it slowly.
Yeah, so do me a favor, Bex, drop your stress by 1, please, and same with you, Sergeant Robles. Drop
Okay.
your stress by 1. God, that water tastes good.
Well, we could just briefly rest here, since it seems like somebody finds that this is a fortifiable area, which I would like to verify first.
You go to the door. The door is in a similar state as the door in the sensory room. It is not. It doesn't whoosh, beautifully slide open as you approach it, but you can tell just by just giving it a little bit of a nudge that with some effort you could slide it open.
I want to slide it open, take a peek. Can I hear anything out the...
You put your ear, and no, you hear nothing.
Shall I head back and get a headset?
Well, I'm not planning to, so if somebody wants one.
We should get one so we can access this server. What I can read, there are systems like the water that are failing. This may help us with the orbit issue.
Oh, I don't know if I can get back by myself.
You just need a boost.
We can lift you up. I can go with you if you want.
Yeah, so I guess two of us should head back. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll go fetch a headset.
All right, so Dr. Brundle and Eeyore get back up into the ductwork, head back over into the laboratory section. You stop, listen. The room just sounds unoccupied the way you left it. Directly below you is the body that you left there. And you have uneventful. You can drop down and grab one of those headsets and head back up if you like.
All right.
Do that pretty quickly.
Yeah, so let's put you all back in the life support section, and we do have a headset. I have got to know what's running through Bex's head right now.
This is not a concrete problem to solve if VR is involved. I'm a mechanic, not a programmer, so I don't trust it at all. I'm a hardware guy. Like, don't have me doing software shit. So I am like sitting petulant child style, just on one of the bunks, just trying to kind of shrink back into that space.
Have you found snacks here?
There's a couple, essentially like military grade, what are they called? MREs?
MRE.
Yeah. Several disposed of and used, and a small stockpile, maybe enough to keep one person going for maybe a week or two. That's untouched.
I mean, Dr. Brundle's plan is to have a light snack and a drink to fight off any cravings. Pop the headset on and hope you maybe take it off me in 10 minutes.
Eeyore will make a timer.
Okay, so drop your stress by 1 for the eating and drinking. And we're putting the headset back on. Is that what I heard?
Yep.
What's your stress level right now, Dr. Brundle?
4.
It's disorienting as the helmet comes back on. A little nauseating at first because it's just like it's a shifting that happens, a transition. What the other three of you see is as soon as that helmet goes on Dr. Brundle's head, his arms just fall to his side and he just stands there. Dr. Brundle, this room is the same room. And the air smells clean. You look down at your hands and there's no blood on your hands. You're back in your uniform that you wearing. You've got your lab coat on, pristine and clean. This life support room is state of the art. monitors all over the place, keyboards in front of every terminal.
So too good to be true.
Drop your stress by 3, please.
Uh-oh. Okay.
What are we going to do?
I'm remembering why I'm here. So, diagnostics on life support.
You go to the terminal, you log in without any difficulty, and water systems fully functional, air systems fully functional. Everything in life support seems to be working perfectly.
I'm gonna talk to myself while doing this. I don't know if I'm doing that in the other place, but I'm just gonna kind of narrate that everything here is, the air smells good. Just like a
Like the
botanist out
temperature
in
is
the-
perfect, right? Like you realize how cold
Yeah,
where you came from was now.
42% humidity.
Yeah, it's
Bodily
just
odor.
it's like when you remembering when you first arrived, 7-8 weeks ago, and you came out of the shuttle and walked onto Mergen's Watch for the first time, and how it immediately felt like home, and it was just this overwhelming feeling of, I like it here, and that feeling has come back to you now as you're going through the life support systems. Like everything works. That's nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep track of like a sense of the time that I'm aware of this happening, and also I think I want to locate where, certainly where Paul is.
Okay. So let's quickly cut to the other 3 crew members. Dr. Brundle, in his world, is talking out loud as he's going through the systems. He is just standing there, making no sounds. You don't see his hands move, his fingers move. He's just standing there with this headset on. Short of a few like muscle twitches, you would think that he was a statue.
I would like to throw something at him.
Okay.
Something small.
Yeah.
Not gonna hurt, but just to see what happens. Also to vent a little frustration.
You pick up
Like a wrapper or
empty packaging, right, of a consumed MRE,
Yep.
and you lightly toss it. It hits him in the arm. Dr. Brundle, as you're going through the systems, you turn to your left and you see 3 data ghosts.
Okay. I'm not
They're
gonna do
just kind of there, right? Just kind of this floating, ethereal red, like ink and water.
Mm-hmm. If I've located Paul, I'm coming to the sad realization that this thing that's too good to be true is probably too good to be true. I'm wondering if I can disconnect myself intentionally.
How?
Yeah, that's the question. It's like simulation off,
Arch.
simulation off, end simulation. Return.
You hear a whoosh as the door to life support opens, and a low-level scientist that you've interacted with before, Davis, comes in and goes, "Oh, Dr. Brundle, can I help you? You look lost."
Yes. Davis, is it?
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to be in here, Dr. Brundle.
No. I've got nothing. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I guess
So
I'll
I can take you over to the labs. The labs are just down the hall. We just got to go through the airlock.
Right. Yes. Silly me. I was deep in thought, thinking of things.
Are you going to follow Davis?
I will follow him.
The three of you see Dr. Brundle start to walk towards the door.
How long has he been in VR?
You've watched maybe 4 or 5 minutes of him just standing there.
Uh-huh.
This is the first time he's moved.
He did say 10 minutes to pull him out. But maybe we should pull him out early if he is trying to leave.
Dr. Brundle, you get to the door. Davis, the door automatically flies open. You step out. Davis looks confused. Not concerned, but just like, he's so eccentric, that Dr. Brundle. And takes you to a left, takes you to the airlock. The keypad for the airlock is there. Davis takes his badge, the same badge you have hanging around your neck, swipes the badge on the airlock. You hear the clunk clunk as both airlock doors open, leading to a very familiar hallway, and that's the entrance to the laboratories. I need to know what the other three of you are doing. You're seeing the door open. Dr. Brundle has now stepped out into the hallway.
Following him.
Sure. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I was about to say, make sure I've got my stun baton ready to rock and follow him.
Bex, Eeyore?
I think we should pull him out. And Eeyore is gonna reach for the VR headset to pull it off of him.
Dr. Brundle, you're kind of walking. You're like, God, how did I get here? I'm usually not. I don't think I've ever really spent much time in wait a minute, no, that's right, this isn't real. Like, your mind is fighting you right now. And it feels like you're losing. Because it feels really good here, and then you go black. You wake up. You're on the floor. Standing over you are your 3 crewmates. I need a quick sanity save, please.
Right. Zero.
So grounded.
Immediately, everything makes sense. You're in the same place you were just a second ago, but it looks like the new place or the old place. I don't know if you've designated one reality versus another. Shockingly, you're able to piece together in your brain the conflict. And I think where so many other people would not do well making that transition for whatever reason, Dr. Brundle, the way your brain works, you're able to discern because you've done it twice now and transition over. So he's on the floor. Eeyore has the headset in her hands. And all of you are in this hallway of the admin section of Mergen's Watch.
What do you remember?
Interesting. I think I'm prepared to designate this experience sort of reality prime. And the other Mergen's Watch is not real. I don't know if this is real, but this feels more real, and I'll quickly explain. Like, even right down to say, like, I felt this slipping away. It was so. It just felt good. Everything was very appealing. I think I was going to my physical appointment. Did I leave the room?
You did. You weren't.
Welcome to the hallway.
Were you able to access the system because you were just standing there for several minutes motionless?
The systems told me everything was as we expected in the other Mergen's watch. And then someone came in and I had to leave. And I guess maybe that's when I started moving. So we headed out of the room, out of the life support area, down the hallway and through the airlock.
And you hadn't gone through the airlock before this was pulled off. And where you're standing now, you can see that airlock door, not nearly as pristine as it was before. The area where the card reader was, that Davis was accessing, is just a covered panel. And the door is closed.
I feel that Dr. Brundle recounted all this just lying on the floor, so now I'll get up.
So we were unsuccessful in attempting to access the system in this reality.
It only gives that reality's version of status reports.
And you weren't physically moving your hands as if there were keys on the keyboard in this one.
I was talking aloud, and it felt like... does it feel like it was one-to-one time going by?
Pretty much.
Okay, and it felt like about 5 minutes had passed.
Well, that was illuminating.
I feel good. I don't know if I can recommend it for everybody, but...
Maybe we should get to a more secure area than this hallway. We're in the admin hallway now. Where were we trying to go? Station command.
Yeah, comms, station command. I think these are very important places for us to visit.
Where do we want to go first?
Well, I know where I'm going. I head back in and stash some MREs wherever I can.
Yep.
Yeah, I do same.
And I have another drink of water while glaring.
I can drink water when I want to.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do.
You're not my mom.
Those two doors are literally next to each other, so...
Well, why don't we take 10 minutes and think about it? Let's take a quick break.
Okie doke.
So, Dr. Brundle, you stand up. The four of you are in the hallway right by the airlock that would theoretically take you to the lab section of the station. The door to the offices are right there, right around the corners where you came from before. And it sounds like there was some discussion about what the hell are we going to do?
What the hell are we going to do?
I think our first priority should be orbit stabilization.
We should head to the command center first then.
I agree with that. And that's close to life support.
We're already in the hallway. We might as well. We don't even have to worry about going back into the vents.
Yep.
So the four of you start down the hallway, taking a left, taking a right. I think by sheer instinct, Sergeant Robles, you are not letting anybody just walk around a corner, right? I think that you're being just relying on your basic training of an unfamiliar location, potential dangers in place. We're going to check our corners. We're going to, do this somewhat deliberately. Hopefully the other three civilians that are with you aren't being idiots as you're trying to make this a controlled process. And when you get to the hallway that leads to the station command, across from it is comms. You kind of peek around the corner and you see two familiar things. These very crude androids standing on either side of the door with stun batons on their belt and revolvers on their belt. They do not notice you peeking around, but they appear to be guarding the command room.
And they're big guys too, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a good 6.5 foot tall.
And yeah, with metal.
Yeah, there's no auspice of trying to pass as human.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to go over there and start stunning them, but that would probably kill me.
And I'm imagining that you've kind of put the stop moving forward signal up to the other three. Yeah.
Bex has a fair amount of irreverence for all of the military things going on, military-esque.
The military stuff that's keeping you alive. I get it.
Yeah. Fight the hand that feeds.
Are the androids saying anything?
Nope. Very still, wearing very familiar Robbie uniforms, face forward on their far left side of their belt, away from you. Farthest from you is their stun batons that you can see there, very similar to the one that you have in your hand, but closer to what you saw in the other reality. So not quite as jerry-rigged as the one that you're holding. And then the revolver's on the right side. And you remember in what we're going to call Reality Prime, to quote Dr. Brundle, or no, this is Reality Prime. In the Mergen's Watch reality, some of the Robbies did have revolvers. And they look to be the type of revolvers that would be issued to them in that reality as well.
Okay. Well, screw it. I'm going to attempt to stun these guys and take their equipment. And then I'll re-roll a character.
All right. Walk me through it.
Okay. I'm looking at my skills. I don't have sneak, so that won't work.
Okay.
I do have hand-to-hand combat, military training, and athletics.
Yeah, and I think you can definitely apply any of those to the combat role that's coming. Are you, let's walk through it step by step. Are you coming around the corner so you would be theoretically in sight? Are you walking up to them? Are you going to rush them? What is the game plan here?
Let me rush them.
Okay. First, let me get a speech check from you. Let's see if you're able to get there before they can react. We're going to basically decide if you get first action.
Okay. And okay, speed. And I'm going to use my military.
No
Oh,
question,
heck.
you can use military training.
My hand-to-hand combat is higher though.
This would be yeah. You can either one. I think for the speed check, we're not going to use hand-to-hand combat. I think military training, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to ambush them here, right? We're trying to get you to hit them before they have time to react. So I think military training fits here.
Okie dokie. What did I just do? Was that right?
Yep, you're good. You're good. You rolled less than your speed plus military training skill bonus. You're on top of them. We've got stun baton out. Their heads slowly turn. They're reaching for their stun batons as you attack the first one closest to you with your stun baton. So if you go to your stun baton on your character sheet, you should be able to click on it, and it's going to give you a combat roll. You're going to have an opportunity to attack each of them once before they can react because of that critical success.
Okay, awesome.
I'm expecting the rest of us just saw you give the stop signal, and then suddenly you charge in, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the other three of you are doing as you just see Sergeant Robles now charging these giants.
Yeah, I imagine all their jaws have dropped. Okay, so I'm gonna use hand-to-hand combat on this.
Okay. So it'll be a straight combat roll.
And I was gonna stab him in the metal part of his head.
So
with the
you come
stunner.
up and you know, like you flick the switch and you can hear the hum from it, a hum that normally stun batons don't make when you charge them, right? Because the stun batons are used by the Robbies by themselves without essentially charging them, right? As just batons. And they're trained in how to, in fact, you did much of the training teaching them hand-to-hand combat with turned off billy clubs, essentially. As you kind of lift up and you're rushing them, you click this on, you hear this overcharged sound, and you take one of them and you immediately right into the neck of the first Robbie as it's reaching for its stun baton and trying to react to you, but you're so fast as this happens. So you did 3 points of damage, but this particular stun baton does double damage. So this is going to hit them for 6, the first one for 6. You have another attack, and you can do it to the same one or to the other one.
I'm gonna do it to the other one.
So
before
you
he
you
gets to
stretch
me.
over and you hit the one on the neck and you take the same stun baton. Are you going to charge it as again? This is your last
Yes.
charge.
Yes.
Okay. Second charge goes. And you slam it into him. Let's do another combat roll. Same way with the stun baton.
All right. Stun baton. Hand to hand.
While she's looking at that, for those of you that are watching, the system is very interesting. All the players, as well as the robots, all have. Are you rolling with advantage? Is that why it's rolling double? I'll have to look at it. They have a series of wounds. In this case, our Robbies have 3 wounds, and they have 10 health. So you can think of it as kind of 3 rounds of 10. So they have like 30 health, but every time that you go past the first 10, in their case, and they get a wound inflicted, then we roll on the wound table, and that potentially is going to have its own reaction. So this is going to do 4 points of damage to the second one as it slams into them. I would like speed rolls from the other 3 real quick. Okay, Eeyore, you will have an opportunity if you want to act first before the Robbies, because you passed your speed test. Dr. Brundle apparently has weighted dice. Dr. Brundle also passes. Everybody just passes. So as you see the sergeant rush up and just slam this overcharged baton into these Robbies, you can see that they're affected, but it's not stopping them from reaching for their batons. Any of the 3 of you can do something before I go with the Robbies. You tell me.
Eeyore wants to try to grab one of the batons, or get it at least so that they can't grab their own baton, whether it's grabbing their arm or grabbing the baton.
So we see Eeyore rush towards the first one, the one that was first hit. Let's do a combat roll.
Okay.
Very nice. This game is oh no, it's a just barely a failure.
No.
As you are reaching for it, Eeyore, you're reaching and its hand is right there. Instead of grabbing the baton, though, it grabs your wrist. The first Robbie. Bex and Dr. Brundle, are we doing anything?
Well, shit.
And Bex, I gave you in your inventory, I added a crowbar, which we'll say is the equivalent to the improvised weapon you brought with you.
Yeah. I guess I don't like anybody grabbing one of my teammates, so I'm going to smack it with
Great, let's
my metal.
click on the crowbar.
Does my jury breaking that crowbar have any effect?
I'm good with you, yeah, using that skill. All right, 32 to your 47, 4 points of damage. That is going to inflict a wound. So let's take a quick look here. That is going to be a blunt force wound. Let's see what it is. You brace for the worst. Minor injury, sprained ankle, -1 on speed checks. So you are going to damage this Robbie. Walk me through it as you come up with that metal bar.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to hit my buddy E, so there's a lot going on around him. So just kind of coming up behind and almost like a golf swing.
And
Not
boom, it hits
the
and
most
let's
sophisticated combat move ever, but
Hey, it
and
works.
it lets go of Eeyore as a reaction to you kind of, knocking its leg, and you can see the damage you've done to its leg. Real quick, Dr. Brundle, anything?
I'm slapping on the VR headset.
Oh, interesting.
Fully expected to see some squishy people that the sergeant was charging into, not murder bots. So
It's going to take a half second for it to kick in, but we see Dr. Brundle put the headset back on. Let's cut to the Robbies. First Robbie is just unarmed, going to try to attack Eeyore. That is a success. Eeyore, I need you to take 9 points of damage as it grabs you and slams you up against the wall of the hallway. How many wounds do you, or how much health do you have?
I currently have 8 health, so.
Okay, so here's what'll happen is you're going to take 8, and then it's going to roll over again. So what is your base health? Your maximum.
12.
Okay, so go to 11, and then add a wound. So you're going to go from 0 wounds to 1 wounds. How many wounds total do you have?
3.
Okay, so this will be one of the 3. If you take a 3rd wound, you're done.
Perfect.
Let's find out what the effect is. Apparently ankles are are not doing well during this battle, so you're going to be at a disadvantage if we have any more speed checks. Our second android is going to be attacking you, Marine. It has not had an opportunity to get out its stun baton yet, and you're able to avoid it. Back at the top, all 3 of you get to go. Let's pause for a second and go to our other reality. Dr. Brundle, you're back in the hallway. Different part of the hallway. Color scheme tells you you're still in admin. And as you turn the corner, you see a guy and a girl and two Robbies, man and a woman. And they seem to be conflicting with data ghosts. Mm-hmm. So you're watching them fight these data ghosts, and essentially a mirror to what you're hearing happening in this other reality.
Stop! I'm studying those.
So one of the Robbies turns to you and goes, "Oh, Dr. Brundle, no. We've got this covered. We've got this covered."
No, this is an important experiment. We're learning from them. I need you to stand down.
They ignore you.
So, plan B is somehow figuring how I can, knowing what I know now that they're not real people, is that can I hack them somehow?
That thought goes through your head, Dr. Brundle, but it's just like, well, how?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, because this is, in its own way, even more real than when the headset was off.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have any sense of a simulation. You have no sense of anything. You know, part of you have an intrusive thought for a second. I should dissipate these ghosts. And you let that go very quickly out of your mind.
All right. Think of the next plan.
You're watching them, and an announcement comes over that only Dr. Brundle hears.
Dr. Brundle, please report to main engineering. Dr. Brundle, please report to main engineering.
Let's cut back to our scuffle. I will tell you, based on your training, Sergeant Robles, that especially the way that it manhandled Eeyore and slammed Eeyore against the wall the way it did, you may be outmatched, the 3 of you right now. Not guaranteed, not overwhelmingly so, but you realize that if you had a fantasy of bum rushing these 2, overwhelming them, and disposing of them very quickly, there's a new new sense of what you're up against now that you've seen how fast they move and how they just like a rag doll through Eeyore against the wall of the hall. Any of the three of you can act now.
So when I stunned the first Robbie, did he hit the ground or he's still up? Okay.
Yep, where we are right now is the first Robbie that was closest to you as you rushed, and the one you hit first has taken Eeyore, slammed Eeyore up against the wall. You're kind of interacting with the second one that you hit. It's standing there. It's reaching for its baton.
Okay.
After it took a swing at you, and which you avoided.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I see him reach for his baton.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they don't feel pain. I am going to use my baton, which is out of charges,
Mm-hmm.
and attempt to slam it in his trachea.
Okay, let's do a combat check. Let's click on your baton.
Hand-to-hand combat.
Definitely. Make sure you're hitting regular, not advantage.
Ah, fudge.
That's all right. We're going to go benefit of the doubt here. All right, so this is going to be a point of damage on the second one. Effectually, no reaction. So you slam that baton into its metal right above the collar, and it doesn't do anything. A minimal effect on it. Bex, you have just slammed your bar into the leg of one of the Robbies, the one that just threw Eeyore into the wall.
Yeah. Yep. This is not my favorite thing to be doing. I don't seem to be like the primary target in this situation right now. They are mechanical in nature, which is something I'm familiar with. I want to hopefully just back away a bit to try to analyze the surroundings and see if I can find an obvious flaw or weakness.
Ooh, interesting. Let's do an intellect check then. And make sure you look at your skills, if you have any skills that might help you here.
So I have jury rigging and industrial equipment. I don't know if that would...
Let's use industrial equipment, because the one thing that you recognize is that this model of android is much closer to like a loader droid, like a strict manual labor droid. So yeah, I'm okay with you using that skill to just kind of assess what the hell you're looking at here.
Yeah. Here we go.
Very, very nice.
Yay.
Yeah, this is very similar to loader droids that you've interacted with before. Your next combat check will be at advantage. Okay. As you just trying to get a sense of, where the connections are, where the soldering is. Like, you have just mentally just mapped this Robbie. You were slammed against the hallway wall, and Eeyore. It's still got its hand around your upper arm.
Also kind of in the same sort of train of thought that X had. Eeyore is kind of trying to scan if there's any sort of port where they might be able to gain access to the droid to maybe get into the programming a bit.
Okay, let's do an intellect check.
Yeah.
If this is a labor droid, typically they'll have a removable, the back of their head will be a panel that could be removed, and that would access their soft systems. But you also recognize, like, I would need a screwdriver, right? I would need this thing powered down or sitting there, and there's no just simple way to access it as you're there. All right, the first one is going to try to slam you again. How do you get free of it? So as it kind of pulls back to slam you against the wall, somehow you're breaking free from this android. What do you do?
I think Eeyore is kind of gonna cause a little short in their own little system to cause an electrical spark in their arm. So it'll just
very nice, and just enough that it doesn't cause the Robbie to let go, but it causes just for a half second for it to loosen its grip slightly, and you're able to slide your arm out from it, and you kind of collapse to the ground, right at its feet, but it's no longer has you. The other one is going to attack the sergeant. What's your health, Sergeant?
Health is 16.
Go down to 6 for me. The second one grabs you by the chest and drives you with its hand into the to the opposite hall, against that wall, as it now has grabbed and pulled out its stun baton. Dr. Brundle, you hear that announcement.
What do the Robbies generally do? Like, what's their role on Mergen's watch?
It was kind of odd. I think there was a part of you that maybe had the same questions about Sergeant Robles. Like, what are you policing here? Everybody gets along. Everything is nice here. Like, being security on Mergen's watch has got to be the cushiest gig ever. You were never surprised when you went into the rec room that there was a lot more Robbies, unwinding and relaxing than there were, say, some of your colleagues who were always busy with projects and research. In theory, they're station security. And every once in a while, there might be a disagreement over the pool table in the rec room, and they would kind of settle things down. But you have never seen Robbies do violence. And as you are looking at them, they are manhandling and pushing and dealing with these ghosts.
Mm-hmm. Can I get into station command? Like, they seem to be pretty busy. So
yeah, I think a little too tight. I don't know if you'd be able to get around them or not.
And just quickly, going through all the, do they respond to emergencies? Like, or are there ever emergencies to respond to?
In theory, yes, but you never encountered one. You hear a familiar clicking, though, Dr. Brundle, and a little bit of music, as suddenly someone appears in front of you with her anime face, her ears.
Hey there, Dr. Brundle. What you doing?
Vani, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
These
Don't
two
forget.
Robbies are refusing to go to karaoke. I think
Oh,
we need
they're
to go there
super
right
busy, Dr. Brundle. I think that you should be in the lab, don't you?
now. Who wants me there?
Well, I would imagine. I think you should go.
So what's going through Dr. Brundle's head is, how do I create enough of a scene that the Robbies will have to deal with me? So whether that's beginning to destroy public property, collapsing in a fit, or just simply jumping on top of one of them.
Okay, what are we doing?
Maybe the latter one sounds the most easiest to do. Is just jump on top of one.
So you'll have to walk through Vani to get there. She's kind of blocking.
Yep. I'll be like,
all right.
Okay,
You
lovely.
walk straight.
See you at karaoke. Yeah.
You walk straight through her. She kind of digitizes a little bit as you pass through her. And I need a combat roll as you're jumping on one of these Robbies.
All right. That's zoology. Probably isn't going to help me there. So this is
No. But you can click on unarmed.
Oh, unarmed.
Yeah, so if you go to your weapons.
Yep. Got it.
If you click on unarmed. As you go to kind of like jump on one of them, the one that's interacting with Eeyore takes its right hand and just shoves you away. And you are incredibly ineffectual in your attempt to try to tackle this Robbie. And it's the woman and she kind of looks at you and kind of pushes you away and says, no, Dr. Brundle, you need to go to lab. But the push belies her size, right? She's maybe like 5'8", and she shoves you backwards down the hallway, much more akin to the metal version that you saw before you put your helmet on.
Yeah. You'll have to make me.
All right, let's flip back. I've got all three of you get a chance to act here.
If we can get into its skull somehow, then we can deactivate it.
Well, I'll try to attack its skull then.
Little crowbar swing.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Getting a little cocky. For no real reason. So I get advantage on this one, that correct?
You do.
We love a
Critical success. Wait, looking at what's the damage on the crowbar?
1d5.
1d5. Oh, there it rolls it for us. Beautiful. So that is going to be 4, but with the critical, it's doubled. So that is going to be 8 damage. You're going to take it from 10 health down to 2 health, on the brink of taking it to its second of 3 wounds. So you take this crowbar and you just boom right into its chest, and it tears the uniform, and you actually see sparks fly from where you hit it in the chest, and it's now stumbling backwards in reaction away from Eeyore. And now you can just see it kind of reaching again, realizing I have weapons. And instead of reaching for the stun baton, you're seeing its right hand go for the revolver.
Is that enough access for you?
In the corner of your eye, next to you, Bex, you see with the VR headset on, Dr. Brundle stumbling backwards. Not clear why.
Oh yeah, because we can't see him like moving his arms or anything. He's just walking back and forth.
Eeyore?
Was
Or
Bex
Sergeant, either one of you.
Was Bex able to puncture like the I guess metal part of the chest then there?
It does look like, yeah, that they were able to kind of like crack the chest area a little bit. You're seeing, some sparking coming from the interior there. But I want to kind of reiterate, like, this is all happening in milliseconds, right? Everything that we're talking about here, this is all very fluid and happening very, very quickly. I mean, we haven't had more than 3 or 4 seconds pass since we have started this interaction when Sergeant Robles came around the corner and attacked him at first. This is all happening very, very quickly, very frenetic. You're on the ground.
Since their focus is on trying to get the revolver, I'm going to try and go for the stun baton again.
Okay, great. Let's do a quick combat check. Yep.
Stun baton into their chest. We can short them out.
You grab right onto it while it's interacting and dealing with the fact that Bex just beat the shit out of its chest, and you grab that stun baton. So I'm going to quickly add a stun baton for you. Give me just 1 second.
Okay. I feel like I have a little bit of a plan now.
Yeah, Eeyore is now armed.
Dangerous.
Which I'm sure Bex is super excited about. Sergeant Robles. You can tell out of the corner of your eye that they're doing a pretty good job on this first one.
Yes.
You are dealing with a barely harmed second Robbie.
Yes.
And your feet are barely touching the floor because it's just slammed and lifted you slightly up against this far hallway.
So I am going to go for his pistol.
Okay.
Or attempt to.
Yeah.
And while he has me up and my little legs are dangling, my arms are free, so I can do that.
Yeah, let's do a quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, tell me. Tell me what you're thinking.
And then I noticed the hole in the other Robbie's chest, so I'm going to shoot him in the chest.
All right, so let's see if we can't get our hands on that revolver. So let's do a quick combat check.
Okay.
And you can still use your hand-to-hand combat skill here. As you reach for it's to your left, its right hip to grab that revolver from the holster. Okay. Not an advantage, though.
So this would be unarmed.
Yep, it'd be unarmed and then a normal roll, but you're going to add your skill.
Okay. Well.
So you're able to, your fingers kind of go up against the holster, but you're unable to unlatch the holster and get your hands on this thing. Roll around to my Robbies. First Robbie doesn't like getting hit in the chest, Bex. So it's going to use its stun baton on you. Or no, this one was reaching for its gun. I think it's going to try to shoot you.
Okay.
Last
time I tried to enter combat.
Give me just 1 second here. Okay. How much health do you have?
20.
So drop it down to 10 as this thing shoots you in the arm. The noise bounces off the walls, and it is shocking. It's so loud. It's just boom, and it's like instinctively, even you, Sergeant Robles, react to this. And Bex, you still have this metal bar, and you look, and you see the wound before you feel the wound, but you can see the blood now just coming off of your left shoulder. The Robbie that's not crazy about you reaching for the gun, but it does have its stun baton out, so it's going to try to hit you, Sergeant, with a stun baton. And you're able to move your head just in time before that stun baton hits, and it just slams up against the metal wall right behind you. Let's go to Dr. Brundle. You're standing there. You're seeing this man and this woman in these Robbie's outfits kind of interacting with these data ghosts, but you have no real sense of what's happening.
I didn't experience the gunshot.
You did not. In fact, you don't see them armed with guns. Vani, I'm going to spare you her voice. Vani is behind you, pestering you to go back to the labs.
What the heck was my plan?
Another intrusive thought pops into your head, Dr. Brundle. Maybe I should go find Luke and tell him that there's still some data ghosts. Then you're like, wait, no, these aren't data ghosts. Like you're fighting in your brain.
Yeah, I feel like I had a plan to contact the captain and complain about the behavior of these Robbies, but I think that intrusive thought makes me question that and sort of like, oh, maybe we're on our own here. I'm gonna try and get past them to the door.
Gotcha. Give me a speed check. You're trying to negotiate your way, and God, it's almost unnatural. And you could swear like one of the Robbies glitched a little bit and shifted its location and just blocks your way. You're not able to get around the man to get to the door. You can see the card sensor on the right side of that door that would need to be swiped in order for you to access it. And you do not have the level of access on your card reader. So even if you could get to the door, you severely doubt whether swiping your card would unlock it and allow you in.
All right.
Flip back to my other three. All three of you have an action before one Robbie fires its next shot and another Robbie tries to hit the sergeant with its baton.
Let me see if I can stop that Robbie from shooting that gun again.
Okay.
You're
now armed.
I want to shove the stun baton into the hole in its chest.
Excellent.
And discharge.
Let's do it. So click on the stun baton.
Okay. And normal. Ooh.
Very, very nice.
That is going to
inflict another wound. So we are now at 2 of 3 wounds. Let's find out what the reaction here is. You take that, and its body shifts, and you end up taking the stun baton into its left shoulder. And it drives in there, and you see the left hand that was holding, like that would be normally reaching for the baton, which is now gone. It's got its right hand, it's got the gun. You can see like it crunch, and your attack has disabled its left arm, and you can tell that it's immediately kind of reset and froze. Bex and Sergeant. You've been shot, Bex.
I am not super stoked about that. I think I am going to try to kind of duck behind the wall, like, or not around the corner, but around,
Back where you came from?
Yeah, and probably drop my crowbar next to me as I'm shooting.
Yeah, I think I'm going to need a panic check.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do that. Before you click on it, what is your current stress level?
3.
All right, we need to roll higher than a 3.
Okay. Once per session, I get advantage on a panic check.
Yeah, you want to do that now?
I don't.
Okay.
Yes, I do. No,
you do. Okay.
I'm not going to. No advantage. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. All right, let's roll that panic check. So you're going to add 1 stress.
Yeah.
As a result of this, and you are panicking. So can you walk me through your withdrawal here?
Yeah, sloppy. I've never been shot before. I just, oh God, there's blood and bleeding and what it. I think probably sit down. Just like, what do I do? I'm forgetting there's actually a battle going on. Just, oh my God, everything is ruined. I need to.
We watch Bex retreating. We watch the Robbie revolver still pointing at Bex as Bex is retreating down the hallway. Eeyore, Sergeant.
Am I still up on the wall?
You are.
There's nothing I can do for Bex. Eeyore, is there anything you can do for Bex?
Since I already went with the sun baton, am I going again?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I am. Oh, I hate that. I'm going to use my stun baton. No, I can't. Yes, I can. I'm going to use my stun baton to try to stab him in the chest.
All right. Say the one that's holding you up.
Yeah.
Robbie number 2. Let's do a combat check using the stun baton. You can use your hand-to-hand skill. Normal, no advantage.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh no!
You slam it into his chest, and it's not a matter of you not hitting it. You definitely hit it. This is point blank range, right?
Yeah.
But it's not with enough force, and I'm imagining maybe Sergeant Robles.
Oxygen.
Well, you have no like. If you're gonna slam somebody and hit somebody, you want both feet planted on the ground, right? And to be able to put some leverage and force behind your attack, and you're being lifted up, and you just don't have enough force to be able to hurt it. Okay, it's gonna shoot at Bex again.
Oh.
So let's talk about where's your health right now, Bex?
10.
At 10. Drop it down to 3 as another shot rings out from the gun as you're there. And like right in the arm again. It seems to be pretty focused on that area. But you now have 2 gunshots. I mean, it's just boom, boom. It's just, and you're down there on the ground. Stun baton on the sergeant. Sergeant, this one is successful. I need you to take 4 points of damage as you get hit by this stun baton. What does that do to your health?
That takes it down to 2.
Okay, no wound yet, but you get slammed and it hits you in the side of the head with this stun baton. So one hand is holding you up against the wall. You're trying to hit it with your stun baton and it just clocks you with its stun baton on the left. We go back to the top. Let's go to Dr. Brundle.
So, gathering his thoughts after being winded and realizing he's flailing about, the original plan was to put the headset on, find a terminal, and do something. Not necessarily do something like trying to beat up the Robbies.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something? Do I have like my terminal on me that I can whip open and?
No, they're really. I mean, you've got probably a device that you carry with you, but it's not networked in that sort of way. So this is kind of that alien-esque archaic future.
But not
yeah,
override system control from our
exactly
bomb pilot. So maybe I'll just run back to the room this all started in. I was already connected to there though. I think that's it. I'm just trying to figure out how can I get into the system and disrupt what's going on. That's my motivation.
So it sounds like you want to go back to the life support room.
Yeah.
Okay. You turn the corner again the second time you walk through Vani, she actually vanishes and says, "See you karaoke." And you turn the corner and you're faced with two of your fellow scientists. And one of them goes, "Dr. Brundle, we're hearing reports of data ghosts. Have you seen them?"
I'm following him. It's very important that the Robbies don't damage them, but they seem to be trying to whatever the word was, dissipate them.
Well, Paul sent us and said that you're here, so maybe you can take us back there. And Paul says you know how to dissipate them.
I just let's go punch him in the head.
Okay, let's do a speed check. Speed check before the combat check.
Let's try the high-minded ideas. And it's like someday. Sorry, just a speed check.
Yep. You go like to rear up, and before you even cock your arm back to take a swipe at it, this scientist in a blink of an eye just goes up and grabs your fist. "No, doctor, we need to go this way and dissipate the ghosts." Like, you don't even have a chance to punch. And there's just this not human level of strength that's prevented you from throwing this punch. But the reaction of this fellow data scientist is just like, no, it's okay. We're going to go dissipate these data ghosts for Paul. I'll let you sit there for a second. Let's go back to the sergeant, to Bex, and to Eeyore. This one first Robbie that's been beat up pretty good seems pretty dead set on taking Bex down.
Is the stun baton still in its chest?
Nope, it's in your hand.
Okay, it's still in my hand. I gotta knock the gun out of its hand so it can't shoot Bex again. That's what has to happen.
Let's do it. Give me a combat check. Let's use the stun baton. Click on the stun baton.
Yeah.
Combat check.
Oop.
Yeah, you take a swing at this thing, and you're just short. I think you hit the hand, but it doesn't do any type of damage, and definitely the revolver doesn't jump out. Sergeant Robles.
Oh boy. So the only thing I have in my hand is my stun baton. And he's shaking me around like a rag doll.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that I can do now is take wild hits at him.
Great. Let's swing that stun baton and just hope that we can do enough damage that it'll let you go.
Yeah.
You rear back again with your stun baton, and you go to hit it again. And this time, as you come down to hit it, the stun baton slams into its chest. You just do not have the leverage. You're not in a position to do damage, physical damage, the way that you're being pressed up against this wall, and the stun baton goes flying out of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Bex, you're on the ground. 2 gunshots to your arm. I need a speed check real quick because I need to know whether you can get around the corner and outside of line of sight of our friend before he shoots you again.
Yeah, I would like that as well. Okay, then let's try. I have experience in 0G, so...
I don't think that's going to apply here. This would be a good one to hit.
Oh.
I'm imagining, Bex, that you're just sliding your body around, trying to get around this corner. It's not going to be in time to avoid this third shot. We hear that boom again, the blast of the revolver. But you moved enough so you hear the bullet ricochet right by your head. Thank God this didn't hit, because it wasn't going to be an arm shot. Stun baton on the sergeant. Everybody's rolling bad. You guys as well as the Robbies, and that's probably a good thing right now. Dr. Brundle. Can I get a quick sanity check from you?
Yep.
Or sanity save, I should say.
Nope.
You pull your hand back, and yeah, I think you should help them with these data ghosts. And you just start walking back towards the door of the command center with the three of them. Mm-hmm. As you turn the corner, you can see a data ghost on the ground near you. You see the other two interacting with the man and the woman, Robbies. You and your fellow other data scientists are standing there. One of the scientists goes, "Oh, whew, there's one right there. Let's surround him." And instinctively, you join them in surrounding the data ghost on the ground. Bex, you're there. The gunshot slams against the window or the hallway next to you. You're bleeding, holding your arm. You look up and see Dr. Brundle standing there with two other people in VR headsets. Let's go to credits. So what I said to my friends before we started is I said, like, it was about 3 minutes before we went live. I think I said to them, like, this moment, 3 minutes before starting a session is, I think, one of my happiest places in this hobby as a GM or as a warden in this case, which is I've left our characters in a really precarious place, right? The end of episode 1 was just insanity. And I'm about to start a new session with the four of them, and I have no idea what they're going to do. And as a GM, I find that so exciting, especially because I used to be an overplanned GM, right? I used to, like, getting ready for this session, I would have tried to figure out all the different things that they were going to try to do and try to get everything ready for. And, you know, if they're going to do A, I'm going to do B, and so on and so forth. And then they would do none of the things I thought of, and I would be immediately thrown off. I'm really excited now as a GM to get to a point where I feel very comfortable just reacting. So this was cool. And again, I never would have imagined what you guys were going to do and where we are now. Dr. Brundle putting the headset back on, didn't see that coming. Makes total sense, though. Like, all the choices were honest. So one of the things we like to do is thoughts, stars, and wishes. thoughts are more the game from a system standpoint. How is it working for you? What are you liking? What are you not feeling great about? Stars is where did we click today? At what point during the session today did you just like find yourself there? You weren't just playing the game, you were in the game. You weren't just playing your character, you were your character. And then wishes is what are you hoping for episode 3? I think I'll start with you, Rob. Can you give me your thoughts, stars, and wishes?
Yeah, so I quite enjoy the pretty, simplicity of the mothership system. Like, I feel like it did a good job of maybe lulling me into with a few good dice rolls that this isn't so hard. So, mechanically, I think as it brings its harsh reality back to bear, it helps ramp that stress and anxiety up in the players as well as the characters. So I'll just say I think the commitment to the Marine bit and really going in there, like metagame wise, fighting those things is crazy, and it probably wouldn't happen most of the time, but that's again the beauty of what we're doing. It's just like, let's that's an honest reaction. And I think once you did that, we all had character choices to be like, well, are we gonna rush in and help or slap on a headset and flail about maybe? I think that was it just tipped. The first half was very cautious. We're scared. We're feeling our way out, and then boom, it changed abruptly on a dime. So,
yeah, I completely believed Gene's choice for Sergeant Robles. That especially, and this may have been on purpose, seeing those guns, right? I can imagine that Sergeant Robles is like, we are unarmed and in extreme danger. It'd be really nice to have those revolvers. So I completely believe that. So I'm with you. What are you wishing for? What have you gotten that you want more of, or what haven't you gotten that you hope to get?
Yeah, I mean, the dice rolling in the story has kind of melded nicely for my character of kind of cracking it so quickly. But again, I think running into it's also interesting simply to run into that wall of like, well, I know what it is, but that doesn't mean I know how to fix everything or solve the problem. So I guess that is ultimately the wish is to figure some of that out. And but I like how we're progressing so far.
As you have Beck surrounded, are you feeling a little peckish, like maybe you'd want a snack?
Hopefully that MRE and swig of water is keeping that at bay.
So speaking of Becks, DK, thoughts, stars, and wishes.
The system is a blast. I haven't played a ton of different games, so I'm learning a lot as I go, but it's that stress level and the various skills and when they can come in handy. I think that's a lot of fun, especially with the ones that I have. I'm a fan of that jury rigging. I'm planning, well, if I survive, planning to use that to my advantage as often as possible. I wasn't really planning on getting shot, but shit happens.
Yeah.
I think, Doc Brundle putting on that VR headset was my star of the moment because it came out of left. I was not anticipating that. I was just kind of blown away, and so that was fantastic. And I think one of the things I'm really liking about this table is that, we're really considering our characters and their motivations here. And Beck's just, well, I guess if this is what my team is doing, this is what we're doing now. And that did not go super well. Wishes, I wish to not die. That would be super.
Would you rather be shot or eaten? I think that's the real question.
I guess one then the other would be preferable.
If both are going to happen, I'd like it in this order, please.
Yes. But it's going to be, quite the opening when we come back. So that's something to be interested in.
It'll be yet another exciting thing to wait 2 weeks for. That's for sure.
And I have not played a ton with you, Craig, but these cliffhangers might actually like increase my blood pressure. Like, if this is real.
I've become I'm becoming slightly notorious about when I go to break and when I cut an episode. Gene,
Yes.
thoughts, stars, and wishes.
Oh goodness. Thoughts. This was amazing. This was
What
amazing.
works for you?
I finally figured out how to work my sheet.
Look at you.
Look at me go. And once I figured that out, it became a lot easier for me. So
Good.
I'm very happy with that. This is my first time playing this type of mechanic. And I've played very complex things. So this one being so simple has thrown me for a loop.
I bet.
Yeah. Thought stars go to the doc, because I was not expecting the VR headset. And now he's going down a rabbit hole. And is he going to be able to get out of that VR headset? Wishes. I don't want Bex to die. I wish I weren't pinned next to that wall so I could save her. No man left behind.
Yeah, Bex has had better days. It's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. It's the first time I've shot a character twice. You're pretty resilient there, Bex.
I do my best.
All right, last but not least, Allie.
Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun. I've gotten to play a lot of different systems. I've played Mothership once before. We're in a very, very different type of gameplay.
How so?
So before it was more modern haunted house sort of a feel. And so the more of like the sci-fi is a new theme to me, but getting to play around with this, I hadn't really realized before. And I like just little things, right? So it's the health in the wounds, where you have, your health bar, and you could say like, oh, well, I have 30, but it's broken into chunks of 10. But having that, we're like, okay, you get to one point and then something is going to happen that is significant, and you keep, and like having it broken down that way so that losing health feels worse.
Yeah.
And has a better, like more of an impact. I really enjoy that in this system. It is such a small thing, but I love like little stuff that just like that. So I'm really enjoying playing this system more. I mean, my star also put the VR headset. Dr. Brundle just, all right, we're gonna go on to it. I think what that added to this fight scene of being able to have the POV switch between the realities too.
Yeah.
Just makes that so much more fun for all of us, and then everybody that's also watching too.
Very cool.
It feels very cinematic almost. So that was maybe unintended bonus there, but really cool moment for the scene.
And what I loved about it was that he went into VR to see if he could save us. That rocked.
Now
I
he might be
appreciate
eating
that.
Bex.
I think I did it knowing that they wouldn't attack me.
Yeah.
But I appreciate but the ones in there, yeah, I could try to help.
I mean, it was also very smart self-preservation. Wishes also for Vex not to die. I really want to know, now that we know that there are other people with VR headsets on the ship. I want to know if Paul and Luke are also people with VR headsets, or if they are droids of some kind, or something else.
I think a lot to figure out there, right? Yeah, I guess I didn't even register in my head that this is, I think, your first time seeing other people with these headsets on. I didn't think about that. That's a bit of a revelation, I think, for the four of you to realize maybe you're not the only ones, and what the hell does that mean? I think that's very, very interesting. Amazing table. I'm really anxious to see the other side of this combat, because I think it's going to add a different tone, I think, to the four of them, and the level of danger, and the volume is going to be turned up, regardless of what the four of you look like on the other side of this combat. So I think I'm really interested to see, and I'm loving the choices that the four of you are making. I believe all of these choices, and I just want more of that. I want the four of you to continue to play in character as character, and making those honest decisions. Sergeant Robles charging the two Robbies, dumb, but I believed it, and it made total sense to me. So let's keep doing that. Tomorrow, we are premiering Carl Gaiden. It's a Japanese eldritch horror game. We're going to have about 2 or 3 sessions. It's being run by Willow Neon Rot, who is the creator of the game. It is a somewhat spiritual successor to Webworld, which he ran for us on the channel a few years ago. So if you want to see some really like that Southeast Asian creepy eldritch horror type stuff, if you're into that like I am, I can't wait to play it, and I get to be a player here, not the person that runs it. And then this coming Thursday, you saw on our little schedule there, we were going to be playing Spectaculars. Unfortunately, one of the players for Spectaculars, again, is not able to make it, but I'm going to leverage my other players, and the four of us are going to come up with something. I've got a couple different one-shot ideas in mind, so we will be live next Thursday. It just won't be Spectaculars, but it'll be some familiar faces from Spectaculars. Like, subscribe, do the whole thing. Love you guys. Cannot wait to play again in 2 weeks. Cheers, all.
Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.